here. I do have something for your chat. It's called Soft Lips, but it'll come out a little bit.
Love that stuff.
Does that feel better? Oh, they're just kissable.
So cute.
He has chapped lips he's been complaining about, so his dad gave him his Burt's Bees.
That stuff's really good.
Irascible, that's your word.
Uses the anger.
I like it.
You look at it. I'm sorry.
Morning, Zach. Your word today is irascible. Is it?
Yeah.
My bad. Irascible. Need a couple minutes.
If you're doing using a sentence, like, I know you said, like, I was very irascible, like, I was very easily angered, but would you be able to, like, I was extremely irascible, or is
Mhm.
that, okay.
Yeah. So your words this week have been innocuous, insidious, intrinsic, latent, irascible. I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes to study. Scarlet Letter quizzes to show you too.
When will we have our essays back?
Monday.
Oh, I didn't put my name on it.
Do you want one of these?
No,
Okay.
I'll turn it in.
Gotcha, gotcha. No problem. Is Savage here today? There's your tea.
Oh, well,
St. Patrick's Day is my nephew's birthday.
really?
It's Maddie's birthday too.
Oh, really?
And you're the
Aw, will you be 16?
I'll be 15.
15, okay. Well, happy birthday. My nephew will be 12. Okay, Scarlet Letter quiz. You can't keep these because I need to put them in the grade book, but
Did you decide on what you were gonna take out? Because we talked about it.
no, I didn't.
Saturday.
We can maybe discuss that. Look them over.
Do we get money for these or not? Since it's just a quiz?
Yeah, I could probably talk into that. Let us look at the ones you missed. What do you think of the ones you missed? What?
The only one I missed was in the section, like, we had already read it,
Okay.
so I don't know. The ones that weren't in the section I was fine with, it didn't make a difference.
Which one? You only missed one. Which one did you miss?
Who was referred to as a lead? I answered Jim's Dale's, I think.
the ones that were missed the most, and not everybody missed these, but the ones that were missed the most, number 10. How many of you in here missed number 10? 2 of you. How many of you in here missed number 11? 4 of you. Okay. How many of you in here missed number 14? 3 of you. That one was hard to find, but it was there in chapter 6. How many of you missed number 12? 2 of you. Let me see, another one that was missed. Number 22. Who missed 22? Okay. Number 8. 2 of you. 27. That's one page missed. Who else missed that one? Well, there's 2 people absent, and I'm looking at theirs. How about 26?
That one was one I almost missed. Like, I had recircled it a couple times, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't remember him burning.
I didn't
Yeah, I don't
either,
know.
but I knew he did the
I
other
do.
2, so I was
But he
like,
did.
well, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Cause like I didn't remember specifically reading that. Like I know like he always keeps his hand over his heart, and they talk about Dr. Chillington like coming in and like looking at his chest.
Yeah.
Being shocked.
Yeah.
But
I just
And questions like that, that one was tricky.
is it like, is that stated in the book or is it just implied? Cause I don't remember specifically reading it.
I wish I could give you the chapter. Maybe it is more implied. However, on that question, this is just a test-taking strategy. You know it's A, right? Everybody knows A is true.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that he did C.
So that's how I got the answer. Like, if you
Yeah,
did 2
so
of
you
them,
have to
that's-
choose all the above because it's more than one of those
What
things, right?
chapter does he talk about like whipping and torch? Like I remember it was like something about like a closet and
It is, I just looked this up last night.
I just remember it being that severe.
It would be or 12. Yes, I'm gonna go with 11 or 12. Because on 12 is called the minister's vigil. Yeah. That's what I think it was, 11 and 12. So that's just kind of a test-taking strategy there. It'll come in handy like on really important tests like the SAT. Try and narrow it down. And really, to me, that's what the SAT is. It's a test on how to take a test, you know, more than it is about the information. And it is tricky, and the testing boards do that on purpose.
I'm taking the SAT prep for the language this semester, and like a lot of the things like they'll say they don't expect you, like they have vocab words that nobody knows.
Right.
But the point is to like figure it out from the context or like breaking down the word.
Yeah.
And it's like a ton of answer strategies, and it was really helpful.
Yes, and it's that's exactly what it is. I'm glad you brought that up because so many of you here are really, really concerned about getting the A+. And even so, on a test like that, on a standardized test, not many people get A+ on a standardized test. It's you're more of a percentage, okay? And so it's more of making an educated guess with the knowledge you already have, especially with vocabulary. We've had a lot of vocabulary this year. I can't guarantee that the words will be on there.
Actually, a lot of the vocabulary like words we had have been on the SAT.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good to know. But even if they weren't, I would hope that you could maybe break down the word, right? That etymology class, if you haven't taken that, that is fantastic for your SAT preparation. So I am a huge, huge believer in vocabulary. I know some teachers in the public schools are getting away from it because of time, but it just helps you become a better reader. They work hand in hand. It helps you on the standardized tests and the SAT, and just, you know, in everyday conversation, it's nice to up your level of, you know, knowledge there. So back to the test. I'm really thinking I'm not going to get rid of any of them, unless there's a definite point one of you wants to make about one. Did anybody? The floor is open for discussion. Holly, did you have one that you were thinking about?
No.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was able to find all the answers in the reading material. And if anything was mentioned before, and you already read it, was there something, Holly, I guess you did mention something that you hadn't read yet, that was in a chapter ahead.
I don't remember what it was.
Well, the one about the, I circled a couple times, like, all of the above question, you said that might have been from 11 and 12.
Which number was it?
11 or,
Well, what,
26.
yeah.
The one about his work training and stuff like that.
Okay. Is that the only one you think was ahead?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cause I will refigure it for that one, because, you know, the test was through 1 through 10,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't wanna go back on my word. But was there one more
I think that was it.
that may have been,
I don't know, I kind of felt iffy about the one where, about where he put his hand, because, like, I know that now, because that's a lot, like, we thought, like, that's mentioned in the book a lot now, but before that, I had no idea, and I was like, I don't know what he's saying, but I guess, like, now it's clear, but I don't know if that was in there or not.
I will mark these two, and when you turn those back in, what number was that? Oh, 28, okay.
I don't know, it may have been, I may have just had a stupid moment where I didn't realize that, but.
No, that's okay, I will look at those two and, consider readjusting. Maddie?
If we got like both of those right, but we got quite a bit wrong, will that like bring our grade down even more?
If you got, no,
Oh.
no, I'm not gonna do that, no,
That's a good question.
no. Okay, does that sound fair? Okay, let me have those back so I can get them in the grade book. And we can discuss.
Thanks.
Oh, I thought about the one that, like, how she was being accused of a witch. Where was that?
It says Mr. Hibbins talks about it in one of the earlier chapters.
Mistress Hibbins. Yeah, and she was eventually,
A couple of the names,
Killed.
like, for options, I don't even remember, like, reading in the book.
Right, she was killed.
She
And how
hasn't been
was
killed
she-
yet, I don't think.
sorry, spoiler alert.
I was gonna say, she's just talking to detail.
Okay, so let's discuss, do we have two chapters to discuss?
Do we? I think
Or
we
just
did.
one?
Just one.
Okay, 22?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna assign you to finish the book, cause there's only 2 chapters left. Just finish it over the weekend. So what happens in 22? It's called the procession.
It's still talking about how, like, Pearl is the only one who can really sense Hester's emotions, and Mr. Sippins comes and talks to her. And she tells Pearl that her father is, like, Lord of the Sky or something, and offers, air, whatever.
Air.
Yeah, and she's gonna, like, go take a night ride with Mr. Sippins sometimes, which sounds like a great idea. And she's talking to some sailors, and one of the guys wants Pearl to take a message to her mother, and she says she would take it if it pleases her. And she says, Mr. Sippin says my father is, like, Lord of something, and if I don't like it, or so she says she would, like, mess up his sailings with the winds and stuff. I don't know. as Mr. Dimsdale's giving his address, he calls Hester and Pearl up with him, and Pearl's of course is all excited because she's gonna go and stand with Mr. Dimsdale, and then Hester's told like for sure that Chillingsworth is planning to leave with them.
Why does he want to go?
Yes,
He
and
doesn't know.
we talked a little bit yesterday that Chillingsworth is just bound and determined to get revenge, and I wanted to ask you or bring this up for discussion. Do you think his sin, or what do you think his sin is? What's Chillingworth's sin?
I'm trying to think of like one precise word to put it into. Maybe like, cause like he can't forgive.
Okay, very vengeful, revengeful, unforgiving.
He like holds a grudge.
Okay,
Like that's.
it's consumed his life.
Yeah.
Years of his life. He's plotted and schemed to get closer to Dimsdale, to eavesdrop, he's very deceitful to a malicious extent. Do you think his sin is worse than Hester's and Dimsdale's? I know that if you're a religious person, all sins are supposed to be the same, right? Do we really believe that?
Well, I mean, for my faith, there's like mortal and venial sins, which venial are like kind of less severe, and then mortal are like supposed to like destroy your salvation.
Okay.
Unless you confess them.
Okay.
And so I guess there are different rights for sins, from my standpoint, but
Okay.
I don't know what time.
Okay.
When's that?
Is that a Catholic standpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Paige?
like, I don't believe that once you've been saved that you can lose your salvation. My dad and I were talking about this a while ago, because in one of the services they were talking about sin and how like gluttony's like the acceptable sin, and he's sitting next to a guy who he knew who committed adultery, and next to an overweight person, and you don't even like weigh in like how do you go about that? Do we treat the person who struggles with gluttony the same way we treat the adulterer, or is that like more important? And the Bible tells us that like gluttony is included in the 7 deadly sins.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say the 7 deadly sins. Yes.
Yeah, so like it's interesting because we kind of like, especially as Americans, we're all overweight. We all eat fast food. Okay, great, but we accept that more.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
It's not. We don't think it's a big deal, even though it's still included.
So the people who are gluttonous, should they wear big G's on there? I mean, we talked about this earlier. The sins you've committed, should they be out there?
I don't really think that gluttony is technically a sin, because, like, who are you to tell someone that they're overweight?
Well, it's not you telling them. It's
yeah.
based on the verse in the Bible that your body is a temple of God,
Yeah.
and you are misusing your temple by smoking, drinking, eating in excess. That's where that comes from. Yeah.
Okay.
There's other ways that you can gain weight besides just eating fast
Oh,
food.
That's
true.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's why I think, like Paige said, it's one of those sins that we don't.
just don't know how to deal with it.
It's a personal thing. Like if the reason you've gained weight is because you're like eating nonstop, like just because you feel like it, that's gluttony.
Right.
Or like drinking
Yeah, I think we
crazy,
have to pay
but,
attention
like,
to the
if you
name of
just-
it. It's not like
if it's just like you're overweight.
And you know, like when you're at Thanksgiving and you wear your stretchy pants because you know you're going to eat a ton of food, or you know, you have to undo the button on your pants because you went back for too much food, right? That's probably considered gluttonous, right? You stuff yourself till you're just so full you can't eat another bite, right?
And then there's homeless people out there or people that in Africa or something that don't get anything.
Exactly. And so that's why I posed the question to the class, are all the sins judged the same? Do you know the 7 deadly sins off the top of your head?
Greed.
Yes, greed is one.
Murder, gluttony. I don't know them all.
Have you seen the movie 7?
No.
No. I don't like
It's
rap
probably
song.
It's probably rated R. I think it has Brad Pitt in it, and Morgan Freeman, of course, is in like
Morgan
every other
Freeman.
movie. But if your parents will let you, it might be worth watching. It's about the 7 deadly sins, and it's very interesting.
it's just called 7.
Yeah, it's called 7. Greed, gluttony, I'm gonna have to look them up now, because I want to know.
Not wrath.
That might be one.
What'd she say?
Wrath.
Okay, yeah, your anger,
Like,
you're right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to know them.
And you know, that's a good point. If you have an adulterer to the left of you and envy's one, which would be kind of Chillingworth,
Yeah.
right? Revenge, he's envious.
He's like wrath, revenge.
He is.
Envy.
Yeah, that's why I asked, is his sin worse than Hester and Dimmesdale's sin? After all, they loved each other. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So, since when is love a sin? However, it was adultery. And that is one of the 10 Commandments, right? So, and in the Puritan society, which they were in, you know, that's definitely bad. Bad. But are they bad people, or is what they did bad?
It's the choice.
It's a choice.
They're still good people, but
Mhm. And it would be totally different if there'd been no baby. No one would have even had to have known. They would have had to live with their guilt. Do you think Dimmesdale would feel nearly as guilty if there were no Pearl?
I think he still would.
I think
Because
Pearl's
he's
a
a-
reminder of it,
yeah.
but he would still.
Mhm.
especially since
He's a religious figure.
Well, and the more people praise him, the worse he feels.
Yeah.
You ever feel that way yourself? You know, it's like, quit telling me how good I am, I just did something bad. You know? And then you feel like you have to confess it. And then when you do, it's probably something so minuscule that it's not, you know, like you didn't murder anyone, so it's okay, people can still like you.
I can still like you didn't murder anyone.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So, it's kind of like what moms tell their kids, you know, if there's no blood, then quit telling on each other, right? Unless someone's injured, I don't want to hear it. So, if no one's murdered, then it's a good day. So, what else is happening in 22? Anything else that you want to mention?
They're electing a new governor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, because what happened to the old one?
It was the old minister? No, it wasn't. Was it? Was he the one
Governor
that died?
Bellingham?
Yeah.
Mhm.
He died.
He died.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't remember what his name was.
Yes, he did.
That was when he was standing on the scaffold that night and everybody was passing by but nobody could see him.
Mhm. He's the one that Hester made the gloves for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anything else in 22?
Pearl wants to like run up to Dimmesdale. She's like asking Hester if she can just go up and.
She's drawn to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Hester's like, no, you can't do that because you'll spoil our secret.
Yeah, that'd
Which
be a
would
big
spoil
spoiler
it.
alert.
Yes.
At what ages in the novel are we dealing with Pearl
Like as an infant and then
as a reader?
oh,
No, you're right.
okay.
When she's first born, and then what
and then
age do
like
we?
7 years later.
So
Okay.
she's 7 years old.
Well, as an infant at 3
Oh, yeah.
and at 7. Do you know the symbolism behind the numbers 3 and 7?
No, 7's like the holy number.
Yeah, they're supposed to be, and 3 would be the Holy Trinity.
Oh.
So there's a lot of, that's why, one of the reasons I love Hawthorne. So much symbolism, love it. I mean, you're just wading through all this symbolism, it's amazing, I love it. And Hawthorne did that, you know, for a reason. 7 and 3 are considered magical numbers. And, you know, certainly from a religious standpoint, we just defined them, yes.
I think it's interesting that people kind of look down upon Hester for not teaching Pearl enough that like she's not like as religiously raised as maybe other children will be.